The Bengals lost again on Sunday. In fact, they lost to the Miami Dolphins. So now the Bengals are 1-14. And the Bengals have officially secured the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming 2020 NFL Draft, which to me is awesome. If you're a Bengals fan, you're like, I'm not a Bengals fan, but I'm like, I think I might live in Cincinnati. It's good for them. If you're a person who likes the Bengals, you go, oh yeah, we got the first overall pick. We got the pick of the litter. We can go get our franchise quarterback, likely Joe Burrow. And honestly, man, the only real win of the year the Bengals have, they've got one win on the season. They're 1-14, but the really only win they have is, in fact, getting that and securing that number 1 overall pick. And when the Bengals lost, some of their fans cheered because they knew it meant, oh, we're going to get the first pick. Let's go. We're glad we lost. And Andy Dalton, the current Bengals quarterback, probably not going to be Bengals quarterback much longer. Andy Dalton, the current Bengals quarterback, did not like people cheering and celebrating when his team lost. Here's what Andy Dalton said. He said, those type of fans, they aren't true fans. If you're a fan of a team, you want them to win. You want them to be successful. Now, here's how the quote ended. He also said this one part. He said, every time you're out there, you want to win. But it's too late. Andy Dalton already sealed the fate with what he said. He gave me ammo to prove him wrong. He said this. Andy Dalton said, if you're a fan of a team, you want them to win. You want them to be successful. And I don't know if you understand this, Andy Dalton. I would argue that winning and being successful are not necessarily the same thing in this scenario. The best thing for the Bengals to be successful in the future was to lose that game to the Miami Dolphins and secure the number 1 overall pick. And frankly, this is harsh, but it's honest. The best thing for the Cincinnati Bengals is to get rid of Andy Dalton. That hurts. I know that Andy Dalton's grieving. It's pretty clear. He kind of lashed out at the fans, but that's the honest truth about the Cincinnati Bengals. You have to ask yourself, if you live in Cincinnati, are you a Bengals fan or are you an Andy Dalton fan? There's nothing wrong with being an Andy Dalton fan, but you have to acknowledge what's best for Andy Dalton may not be what's best for the Cincinnati Bengals. What's best for Andy Dalton is to keep a job and to keep making millions of dollars to be a franchise quarterback. But if Andy Dalton's not the guy that should be your franchise quarterback, that's not what's best for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I don't believe Andy Dalton should be the franchise quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Therefore, their interests do not lie in the same place. They're not the same. The Bengals want to win. I feel bad for Andy Dalton. What was he supposed to say there? Is he supposed to say, I'm glad people are booing us for getting the first overall pick? But the bitter reality is that getting the number 1 overall pick was the best thing for the future of the Cincinnati Bengals. Beating the Dolphins on Sunday was irrelevant. It wouldn't matter. The Bengals are 1-14. Would being 2-13 is that much better? Oh, we're 2-13 instead of 1-14. Who cares? Get the first overall pick. No, the better outcome to help the future of the Bengals was securing that number 1 overall pick. Now, I am very cynical that Cincinnati having the first overall pick isn't going to matter anyways because their ownership is god-awful. And if you have bad ownership, it doesn't matter how well you are. But I do acknowledge, either way, getting that first overall pick, getting probably Joe Burrow, the quarterback at LSU, that's a far better future than winning that one game and being 2-13 instead of 1-14. Even if that number 1 overall pick doesn't help them because the ownership is in the way, getting the number 1 overall pick was the right thing to do there. That's the best thing for the team in the future. Going 2-13 versus 1-14 is irrelevant. Get that number 1 overall pick. Andy Dalton was wrong. True fans, yes, they want their team to win, but they also want their team to be successful, and that isn't always necessarily the same thing.